Welcome back to The Buzz on 82. I'm sitting here with Barry Smith, playwright extraordinaire.
Did you really forget my name and have to look at
Totally. No, I don't know if I should say.
Okay.
Think Spalding Gray and David Sedaris with a whole lot of visual aids. That's what the Aspen Times called you. Or if I should say, Barry Smith just nominated for Colorado Press Association Award for Best Comedy Humor columnist, or if I should say my friend Barry Smith, or like the Barry Smith who's been on my show the most. I didn't know how to start it, so I just
or Barry White.
Or Barry White.
That's not an option.
So and then I was thinking, okay, so then I was thinking 10 years ago, you and me were sitting here on a couch 10 years ago on Jeannie Waller's show, because you were just starting to do. This is like the beginning of all of this. I'm getting to the part while we're here.
I was thinking 10 years, yeah.
10 years ago, you did the Santa Land Diaries.
That's right.
Directed by Lynn Aliya, down in Glenwood Springs.
Directed by Lynn Aliya.
Was she Lynn Aliya then? Yes, I was Lynn Aliya then. Because I had discovered you as a poet in a little poetry reading.
Reading my silly little poems.
Reading your silly little poems. And from there...
Then you made me dress like an elf.
I made you dress like an elf. And while you were dressed like an elf, you had an epiphany.
I did. Would you like me to talk about it?
Of course I would.
I didn't know if this was leading to me or...
So that was the introduction.
I like where this is headed.
That was all the pause that went on my mind before. That was just the intro. Okay.
Cool. So. I'm sorry I interrupted that pause.
Okay.
I should let you pause.
So there, you had this epiphany on stage.
I had this epiphany on stage because I'd never been on stage longer than to like read my little poems that I had written, sometimes rhyming, sometimes not, and I was on stage dressed as an elf, which wasn't that big of a factor. You get over that pretty quickly, you know. Once other people stop noticing it, then you stop as well. And never worn tights, especially not in front of people.
You're very handsome.
It was a good elf look. Most elves aren't 6'4", but that's what acting's all about, right?
Exactly.
So I thought, hey, I can I can memorize things. I didn't really know that, except for memorizing all of National Lampoon's Vacation and all the Monty Python movies. So I've memorized things in the past, Caddyshack, and I can stand on stage without throwing up.
That's right.
No small feat.
No, it's
right?
not a small feat.
Okay. And I thought maybe I could tell my own story. Maybe I could stand on stage by myself and tell a different story than something David Sedaris wrote, but something I wrote. Something that happened to me. Maybe the time when I was in my 20s and I was absolutely, truly convinced that Jesus was alive and well and living in Montana. Not just convinced, but even like packed it up and hitchhiked up there and hung out with Jesus and lived in his basement and set is almost this close, maybe closer, you know, kind of a Jesus-y sort of closeness, and said, yes, I believe, I am in, I am convinced. I've studied and looked at the criteria and guided myself as best I can. You are Jesus, I said to this guy, in a shortened version. And I don't believe that anymore.
Right.
Which is not to say that he's not or wasn't.
Well, I thought you were going for that quick moment with this, that I thought you thought for a moment I was actually Jesus. I was so convinced.